Once upon a time, there was a poor farmer named Crab. One day, he loaded some wood onto his cart, hitched up his 2 oxen, and took it to town to sell. A doctor bought the wood for 2 thalers. While the doctor was counting out the money, he sat at the table eating and drinking fancy food and wine. Crab watched him and thought, "Wow, this guy has it good. I wish I could be a doctor too." He stood there for a while, then finally asked the doctor, "Hey, can I become a doctor too?" The doctor laughed and said, "Of course, it's not that hard." "Really? What do I have to do?" Crab asked. The doctor replied, "First, buy yourself an ABC book with a picture of a rooster on the cover. Second, sell your cart and oxen. Use the money to get some nice clothes and buy whatever doctors need. Third, make a sign that says, 'I am Dr. Noel,' and hang it above your front door." Crab did exactly what the doctor told him. Soon enough, he started calling himself Dr. Know-all and treating people. He wasn't at it for very long when a rich nobleman came to him with a problem. The nobleman had some money stolen and heard about Dr. Know-all in a nearby village, who could supposedly find out where the money went. So he had his carriage prepared and went to see Crab. When he arrived, he asked, "Are you Dr. Know-all?" "Yes, I am," Crab replied. "Good. Then come with me and help me find my stolen money," the nobleman said. Crab agreed, but added, "I'll come, but my wife, Greth, has to come with me too." The nobleman didn't mind. So they all climbed into the carriage and went to the nobleman's castle. When they got there, the table was set with food, and Crab was invited to eat. "Sure, but my wife will eat with me," Crab said. So they both sat down at the table. The first servant brought in a fancy dish, and Crab nudged his wife and whispered, "Graith, that's the first one." Now, Crab meant this was the first dish being served, but the servant thought he was saying, "That's the first thief." The servant got really nervous because he was one of the thieves. He ran out and told the second servant, "The doctor knows. He said I was the first thief." The second servant didn't want to go in, but he had no choice. When he brought in his dish, Crab nudged his wife again and said, "Graith, that's the second one." The second servant panicked too and ran out. The third servant brought in his dish, and Crab once again said to his wife, "Graith, that's the third." By now, all three servants were freaking out, convinced that Crab knew they were the thieves. Finally, the fourth servant brought in a dish with a cover on it. The nobleman decided to test Crab's skills and said, "Doctor, if you're so smart, tell me what's under this cover." Crab had no idea. He stared at the dish, feeling completely stuck. Finally, he sighed and muttered to himself, "Ah, poor Crab." But the nobleman heard him and thought Crab was saying, Aha! Poor Crab is the thief, the nobleman immediately shouted. He knows. He knows who took the money. The servants started to look super nervous and signaled to the doctor that they needed to talk to him in private. So he followed them outside, and all four of them came clean. They confessed that they had stolen the money and begged him not to turn them in. We'll give the money back, they said, and we'll even pay you a big reward if you keep quiet. If you tell the Lord, we'll be hanged. They took Crab to where they had hidden the money. Satisfied, Crab went back inside, sat down at the table, and said, My lord, let me consult my book to find out where the gold is hidden. Meanwhile, a fifth servant, curious about how much the doctor actually knew, snuck into the stove to eavesdrop. Crab opened his ABC book, flipping back and forth through the pages, pretending to look for answers. He was really just looking for the picture of the rooster on the cover. Since he couldn't find it right away, he muttered, I know you're in there, so you might as well come out. The servant hiding in the stove thought Crab was talking to him. Terrified, he jumped out, shouting, This man knows everything. Crab then took the nobleman to the spot where the stolen money was hidden. However, he didn't reveal who had taken it. The nobleman was impressed and gave Crab a generous reward. On top of that, the servants also paid him to stay quiet. From that day on, Crab, now known as Dr. Know-all, became famous and respected far and wide.